Hey, Battle Bill here with another video, and today we're going to get into some more Ultra League Go Battle League battles. So, alright, I got a little spice pick I want to test because you saw the last video. I'm still running the Obstagoon, Cresselia, Charizard team having success, but I want to try and diversify the content. I want to try and bring you guys some spice picks. Maybe you already assume that they're going to be terrible, but who knows? Maybe I test it, show it on the channel, could be a diamond in the rough. And currently, I have what I call, and my community, and I think what most people in the PvP community call a Pundo, a PvP Hundo Honchkrow, which means it has the perfect PvP stats for Ultra League. So that gave me an idea. Let's try a set with Honchkrow on it. So, you might be saying, Battle Bill, Honchkrow super glassy. And what I would say in response to that is, you're right, it is. So, I put it on a team with Giratina Altered and Swampert, some of the bulkier Pokemon in Ultra League, and the logic was, they can take hits and get shields, and hopefully, in the end, I can have my Honchkrow closing it out with some shields, spamming some charge moves. That's the plan. Because when I checked PvPoke and I saw where it was ranking and saw where it best fit, PvPoke said Honchkrow is best as a closer. So that's how I'm trying it. Let's see how this ends up going. We're getting into this first match. I got a Giratina Altered on a Escavalier lead, and he's going for a charge move here. If the Escavalier is going to stay in this matchup against Giratina Altered, this has to be a drill run, which it is. You don't want to throw a Mega Horn if you're the Escavalier, because that's going to deal resisted damage. They swapped, and I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I still like a Giratina Altered on Swampert, so I'm going to stay in here. I'm going to go for this Dragon Claw. I have Swampert of my own in the back that can deal with the Escavalier later in the match if I have to, and then, you know, technically I could go for Sky Attacks on my Honchkrow and deal neutral damage to his Escavalier if it doesn't have any shields. So he's going for a charge move here, and I'm just going to take it. He ends up baiting, going for the Hydro Cannon, so I call that real nice, because now it gives me another chance to get to a Dragon Claw and force the shield. So now he's going for another charge move, and I'm like, I'm at the Dragon Claw, I'm going to definitely shield this up, and it ends up being an Earthquake. So I'm like, wow, I called that bluff perfectly. I got all his energy. I can go for this Dragon Claw here and either take out his Swampert or get one of his shields and see how he decides he wants to play it. Like I said, I want to save shields, but there are going to be situations where I don't have a choice but to shield my Pokemon, and maybe I save one shield for Honchkrow. Ideally, I'd love to save two. It is very glassy, but they're going for a charge move here. Hydro Cannon's going to finish off my Giratina Altered, which is fine, but now that Swampert's in farm range, so I'm going to bring in my own Swampert to try and farm it down. Unfortunately, it does have a little bit too much health, so what you'll notice when I try to farm it down, my opponent's going to get to one more Hydro Cannon here, but that's okay. Swampert and Ultra League can tank a Hydro Cannon from other Swamperts, and this leaves me with about 2/3 to about 55% of my health left, and that can just commit to completely over-farming. So now I'm going to wait to see what he brings in. He brings in a Cresselia. So, you would hope a Dark type like Honchkrow would have a positive matchup against a Psychic type like Cresselia. One big issue, Cresselia runs Moonblast, a fairy type move. So that's the main reason why I didn't just go for an immediate swap and bring in my Honchkrow. What I was really hoping is that my opponent would expect an Earthquake coming from my Swampert and possibly use a shield, but unfortunately I wasn't able to grab any of those shields. Honchkrow does run Snarl and Sky Attack and Dark Pulse as its two charge moves, so Snarl does charge energy, charge up energy and build energy pretty quickly, but it feels like a clunkier move recently, so it's not charging as quick as I would hope it would. So I'm going for a Dark Pulse here. If you noticed, the Cresselia threw a Grass Knot to take out my Swampert, and what my thought process was after I got this shield was, okay, you're running Grass Knot and Moonblast, I have a shield, obviously I'm going to want to shield this, so you might try and bait me. You didn't try and bait me, and you saw how much that Moonblast did. That just did way too much, and he gets the attack debuff because he definitely needed that. He brings in his Escavalier to counter me down, and I end up losing this first match. I'm pretty sure even if I shielded that, I mean, I would have gotten to the Dark Pulse. If I would have shielded that, I might have had a solid chance to win it. So I would have gotten to the Dark Pulse and taken out the Cresselia, and then it would have been a race to the Sky Attack, and, well, it would have been a race to Sky Attack versus my opponent's Mega Horn, which would have definitely taken out my Honchkrow. I don't know if I would have won that race, but either way, it ends up being GG. Tried to call bluff, did not pay off. Getting to this next match, I got Giratina Altered on a Granbull lead. this is a big weakness for this team, and it's something I didn't realize right away, because Giratina Altered and Honchkrow are both going to take super effective damage from Charm and be super weak to it. So I'm like, I can't exactly swap out of this, because if I swap out, then I'm using my only Charm counter, and then Granbull can just have a field day with the rest of my team later on. So I stay in, but I'm like, you know what, this isn't going to work either. So I bring in my Swampert, and my opponent decides to stay in, and this ends up being my opponent's biggest mistake in this match. I don't know what else they had in the back, I don't remember off the top of my head, but considering how weak the rest of my team is to Charm, and my one counter being a Swampert, which isn't really much of a counter, my opponent definitely should have swapped out and tried to match me with anything to just go up against my Swampert. But my opponent didn't. They leave in their Granbull. I'm throwing this Hydro Cannon here. It gets a shield, and now we're at a one shield even. It's not advantage. I was going to say advantage. That sentence was terrible. But I am able to outpace it, obviously, because I'm running Mud Shot, and Hydro Cannon's cheap, whereas Granbull's charming away, and that takes forever to build energy. So I take out the Granbull here, and my opponent brings in a Poliwrath. So, like, that's what they should have done. They should have brought in their Poliwrath immediately to go up against my Swampert, but I had no problem with it. I'm going to shield here because I really want to land an Earthquake, and my opponent goes for a Dynamic Punch, which is nice. I didn't get baited, and honestly, I can't even, I mean, obviously I can't have my Honchkrow, even though it's a flying type, I can't have it going up against Poliwrath because it has Ice Punch. Ice Punch would be super effective against my Honchkrow. And then, of course, Honchkrow is also a Dark type, so it's still going to take neutral damage from fighting attacks. So Honchkrow really is not impressing me so far. Luckily, kind of luckily, I swap out my Swampert to catch this Ice Punch from the Poliwrath. Because Swampert was super low, he was going to throw an Ice Punch either way. And I'm trying to get to a Dragon Claw, but I really am fine with not getting to it and letting the Poliwrath take out my Giratina Altered, just because Swampert now has like energy advantage on the Poliwrath and can definitely get to an Earthquake here, which is a move I really wanted to land against this Poliwrath. So I'm going to go for this Earthquake. It's going to get the Poliwrath super low. It's not going to take it out. And then I think my bright idea was to swap. Oh no, I can't swap. Okay, maybe, oh, okay, that's what happened. He swaps. And I'm like, okay, this is not ideal, because a Focus Blast from Registeel would deal neutral damage to Honchkrow, and even a resisted Flash Cannon would probably hurt Honchkrow, and I don't have any shields for it at this point. So it's not that necessarily the plan went out the window. I was just at a huge disadvantage. I didn't have a choice but to use shields in this match, and luckily I was able to get to the Earthquake before the Registeel got to its Flash Cannon, take out my Swampert, and now all I can pray is that I can get to a charge move, and maybe I could have gone for Sky Attack considering how low the Registeel was, but I want to go for the neutral charge move here, Dark Pulse. I get to him at the same time. Dark Pulse is a little bit more energy, but I won't notice that until the second go through of its charge moves. So the Dark Pulse takes out the Registeel, and I'm trying to snarl it down, and he gets to a charge move here, and I'm sitting here like, how glassy is Honchkrow? How glassy is Honchkrow? And it's an Ice Punch, and luckily Honchkrow was able to survive an Ice Punch, which you would hope, and I end up taking the second match, and I really can't thank Honchkrow for that, but I won. So, getting into this third battle, you might know who I'm facing, and you might notice something about his rank. The first ranked 10 player of Season 2, Lolarsox. If I could figure out how to do it on YouTube, I'm going to link Battle Hero's video. He goes over how Lolarsox got to rank 10, and this is no negativity towards him, but he didn't exactly do it in the most legitimate way. He seems like an awesome dude. I spoke to him after this match, said GG and whatnot. This ends up being a really good match, but what he did was he essentially kind of, I don't want to use the word exploit, because I don't want you to think it's on the same page as Jesus, because it's not his fault, it's not Lolarsox's fault. Niantic operated the ranking system the way it did, but a brief summary is, if you tank your rank super low, you get a multiplier. So once you get that low and you start battling and winning, your points, instead of you gaining like 10 points for 3 and 2, you'll gain like 50 points instead. That's just like a brief summary. Like I said, I'm going to try and link the video to Battle Hero's explanation of it somewhere in this video, because Battle Hero does a great job going over it. But no negativity towards Lolarsox, but he didn't exactly get to rank 10 in the most legitimate way. But he is technically still the first rank 10 of Season 2, and I thought it was pretty cool. I ended up getting into a match with him. So you might have noticed Honchkrow actually did something useful there. He got both of his Giratina Altered shields and a Mass Shield advantage, which is extremely important. He was able to spam it. I do think a Dark Pulse would have taken out his Giratina Altered, so there is some play there for Honchkrow. But Yeah, I'm trying to think if I can explain any further, because I don't want any negative comments about Lawler Socks. I think it's important that these things get noticed so that Niantic can do something about it, and I really hope they care enough to fix it, because we waited a week for the main Jesus exploit to get fixed, and coming back from that week, it doesn't seem like a lot was done, which is really just a frustrating feeling. Niantic, please, I just ask nicely, I want to see Go Bad League have success. We all hope that you guys want to see Go Bad League have success. I'm talking to Niantic. The audience, they all want Go Bad League to have success. We hope you guys care. But either way, I just Earthquaked this Empoleon, and he brought in his Togekiss, and I have enough health and a shield where I can get to 2 Hydro Cannons here and get this Togekiss low enough to end up winning this match. So, you know, technically, I beat the first rank 10 of Season 2. I can't speak English, but I beat the first rank 10 of Season 2. So throw your congratulations in the comments. But, yeah, no, this was a solid match. And Honchkrow actually did something positive here. It might have gone unnoticed because of the fact that it didn't win me switch advantage, but getting that shield and me having that shield advantage was huge. He's going to go for a charge move here. It's going to be an ancient power, but I have a shield now to not have any worry about it. And as he tries to charm me down, I'm going to Dragon Breath his Togekiss down and take this match. And hey, I'm 2-1 in the set with Honchkrow. Yes, it might be getting carried just a little bit by Giratina Altered and Swampert, but it did something there. So, like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, the plan going forward with these Go Bad League videos is to kind of alternate. I want to show you a team that I believe you can have success with, like the Obstagoon, Cresselia, Charizard team that I showed in the last video, and then I want to test out some Spice Pokemon that you might be afraid to use, or you might just think have no chance of having success, and I want to show you if you're correct and they definitely won't have any success, or they could be a little hidden gem. So, that's really just the plan. I want to alternate, because if I use the same team over and over and over again, I can understand if you get bored of it. So getting into this next match, I bring in my Swampert to deal with the Gyarados. My opponent decides to swap into Giratina Altered here, and I'm like, okay, this is pretty fine. I'm just going to go straight for the Earthquake because I wouldn't mind getting his shield and then coming in with my Honchkrow and try to like snarl it up, land the Dark Pulse, and take it out. So I go for the Earthquake. I don't get the shield, gets it to about half health. That's also fine too. I have no intentions of committing any shields to my Swampert here. My opponent's going to go for a Dragon Claw. This is not going to take me out. It's going to get me in the red, and then I'm going to just charge up. I'm going to try and get off a Hydro Cannon, but my opponent decides to go for another Dragon Claw, which is fine by me because they didn't farm my Swampert down. Totally fine. So once this goes through, Swampert goes down. I'm going to bring in Honchkrow here. I'm going to snarl up the Honchkrow, and one mistake that I make here is instead, the health of this Giratina Altered is so low, I didn't need to go all the way to a Dark Pulse to deal super effective damage. I do shield this because a Dragon Claw, even though it's neutral and it's a small move, hurts Honchkrow more than I prefer, but I should have gone for the Sky Attack here. Because if you look at the energy like circles, technically Sky Attack is less energy of a charge move than Dark Pulse is, and I didn't need all that super effective damage on the Giratina Altered. The Sky Attack would have been fine. My opponent comes in with a Charizard. I'm going to go for the Sky Attack here, and this is either going to do high damage to the Charizard or it's going to get a shield, because that is one of the positives about Honchkrow. Because it's so glassy, it has a very high attack stat, and Snarl does allow it to get off charge moves pretty quickly. I needed to surround it though with Metamons because it needed some bulk around it so that Honchkrow can be greedy and have all the shields. Now obviously in certain matchups I haven't allowed that to happen, but that was the plan and the thought process behind trying to put this little Spice team, or put the Spice Mon in a meta team and have some success with it. But my opponent decides to keep in their Charizard when they have a Gyarados in the back, and I'm like, alright, I'm fine with that. You're kind of like creating a winning opportunity for me, and he's just going to keep on spamming Dragon Claws, but bringing in Gyarados was like definitely the play to make this an easier win for my opponent. Now he decides to bring in his Gyarados. He's going to go for a Crunch, and I should have shielded it. The reason why I didn't was because I was like, Honchkrow might need that shield, but I completely forgot how much health this Honchkrow had. It did not have enough health to warrant that shield. So that was a mistake on my part. Honchkrow is just going to get Dragon Breath down after I throw this Sky Attack. It gets a shield, which is lovely and all, but I wasn't thinking in that moment. Honestly though, if I would have shielded the Giratina Altered, got to a Dragon Claw, got the shield of the Gyarados, thrown the Sky Attack, I probably would have gotten Fire Spin down by the Charizard, so it really wasn't making a difference. I was losing that match either way. So what, 2-2 on the set? Hey, you know what? I'm using Honchkrow, and I didn't end up in a battle to you win set, so I'll take it. But for now, as of now, you can clearly see where Honchkrow might have a little niche, but why it's not used often, which I could understand based on just how glassy it is. So getting into this 5th match, I have a Giratina Altered on a Swampert lead here, and this is a good lead for me. I'm expecting my opponent not to bait and to just go for Earthquakes, but I'm still not going to use any shields because, again, the plan for trying to have success with Honchkrow is to save all the shields for him. So my opponent's going for the charge move. I would love if my opponent would go and bait here, but once this charge move goes through, we'll find out it's an Earthquake, and it does about half of Giratina Altered's health. Now I'm just going to continue spamming. My opponent decides to stay in. I'm going to go for another Dragon Claw here. This will not take out the Swampert. I'm hoping to maybe get a shield. That's another thing. Because Honchkrow being so spammy, I would love to get my opponent shields in other situations so that Honchkrow can kind of go off. I did get the shield there. I'm just going to keep on building up. And I get to another Dragon Claw, and it was kind of hard to tell because Giratina Altered's so big, but I think my opponent kind of lagged on their Swampert, but I couldn't do anything about it because by the time I realized his Swampert wasn't moving, I had already gotten to the Dragon Claw because look at Giratina Altered, look at its wing. I literally can't see my opponent's Pokemon because of how big he is. So he brings in a Togekiss. This Togekiss is going to charm down my Giratina Altered, and I find that this matchup has gone the way it has because I did not want Togekiss lined up with my Honchkrow. So I bring in Swampert. I'm going to spam as many Hydro Cannons as possible. I'm going to kind of hope that he doesn't shield, but I should be able to get to, what? I need 4 Hydro Cannons to get the shield and take it out. He does end up shielding a Togekiss there, which I'm like, alright, fine. I can shield my Swampert once here and get to 3 more Hydro Cannons before the Togekiss is able to charm down and take out my own Swampert. So that's the plan. I go for another Hydro Cannon here. Actually, I don't even think I need 3 more. Because, I mean, the Mud Shots really shouldn't be doing much. They should be double resistant because the Togekiss is flying typing. But that Hydro Cannon, okay, never mind. That Hydro Cannon does more than I expected it to. So I only need technically 2 more after I got the shield, and now I'm going to be able to take out the Togekiss, and whatever Pokemon my opponent has in the back, I'm bringing in Honchkrow immediately, because I don't want Swampert to get farmed down, and I definitely don't want my Honchkrow to be at an energy disadvantage. My opponent brings in a Charizard, so I'm like, okay, I can go for Sky Attacks here, because both of these moves are, both Sky Attack and Dark Pulse will get stabbed from Honchkrow's flying and dark typing, and again, Sky Attack is the cheaper energy move, or the more energy efficient one. Sky Attack does get about 2/3 to 3/4 of Charizard's health. Like, that is a good amount of damage. Yes, Charizard's a bit glassy. And my opponent here, I had to shield the charge move. He ends up baiting me with a Dragon Claw, but I couldn't take the chance of a Blast Bird going through, because even though it'd be neutral, I'm pretty confident that would have one-shot Honchkrow. But either way, because of Snarl and how quick it can generate energy, I'm able to beat my opponent to the next charge move and take out his Charizard. You know, Honchkrow can beat a Charizard when it has a 1-0 shield advantage. That's a positive, right? Overall, I had a positive 3-2 set with Honchkrow on the team, but you might just argue that Swampert and Giratina Altered carried Honchkrow, and I might not disagree with that argument. So, in conclusion, I don't exactly recommend Honchkrow. It doesn't have enough positive matchups against the meta. It's too glassy. Even with Snarl, Sky Attack, and Dark Pulse are just too big of charge moves for Honchkrow to really be that like spam monster that you'd want from like something like Shiftry. So let me know what you thought of Honchkrow. Let me know if you maybe had some success with it. Let me know if you like seeing me test and try these weird spice Pokemon. I'm going to try and alternate and find the new Pokemon to use, and if you think it's a waste of time, let me know that for sure. But I do think as we test these spice Pokemon, we might find a few gems in the rough. Honchkrow is not one of them. Either way, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.